Let's say hello to Meredith Marovits. She does a fantastic job covering the Yankees for Yes. Meredith, first off, happy holidays. It's been fun to watch all of your off-season interviews with all the Yanks. How's everything going?
Can't complain. Thank you, and happy holidays to you and everyone at the MLB Network, and of course, all of your viewers.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And I think this is a good way to start us off for our viewers because you've spoken to just about everyone in the Yankees organization, from Brian Cashman to Aaron Boone, most of the players so far this offseason. Just give me the most interesting thing you've heard from one of your interviews so far.
You know what? Last week, I actually spoke to Gerrit Cole, and you knew last offseason he was going to get an unbelievable deal that was going to set him up for life. But he talked about some of the pressure, not only during that free agency year, but also the years leading up to it. And he said this is the first time in a very long time where he felt like he can just relax, get to training, spend some time with his family, and not have to think about any of the other factors, knowing he is going to be a New York Yankee for a very long time. So I found that a little bit interesting, especially coming from a guy who knew he was going to get a major deal, to still have those thoughts in his mind. And you wonder what DJ LeMahieu is thinking this offseason, because he's a guy that's definitely going to find his home somewhere. Where that's going to be, how much money it is going to be for, remains to be seen. But as we know, with the asset that LeMahieu is, it's going to be a pretty lucrative deal.
Perfectly leading me into the headliner, as Jon Heyman lets everyone know that the New York Mets just pick up the phone and say, hey, DJ, we've got some good things going on over here in Queens. Maybe we should chat. How serious do you think a rumor like that looks like for DJ? Do you think, let's put it this way, what would be your shock factor that DJ LeMahieu is not a New York Yankee from 1 to 10 when we get to the beginning of the season?
I'd say there's an 80% or higher chance that DJ LeMahieu is going to be a New York Yankee. You've heard Brian Cashman say it. He said it on the Yes Network. He said it on other outlets, that is their first priority. And I'm trying to think of times where the Yankees have said that is their first priority, and they haven't been able to get that deal done. Now, the only way I think he becomes a Met and not a Yankee would be if the Mets absolutely blow him away when it comes to money. The Yankees are only comfortable going so far with so many years, and if Steve Cohen wants to go way above and beyond that, it would be in DJ LeMahieu's best interest to take the deal. Now, does LeMahieu want to remain a Yankee? I think the answer to that is yes. Do the Yankees want him back? I believe the answer to that is absolutely. Now, will they be able to work out a deal? That remains to be seen. But, you know, the Mets have to do their due diligence. And I'm sure as soon as you heard the news with Robinson Cano this offseason, you figured, hey, is that a landing spot now for DJ LeMahieu? So if they didn't talk to LeMahieu, I would find it incredibly odd. There are a lot of teams talking to LeMahieu. I think if you asked him where he'd like to land, it would be in the Bronx. But we have to see how it plays out. And unfortunately, this offseason, things are moving slow. And I can't tell you the amount of Yankees fans that have reached out to me and said, are we getting a 6'4" box under the Yankees Christmas tree this year with DJ LeMahieu inside of it? I don't think it's going to happen in a few days, but I do think it is going to happen at some point in time.
You're right. Every team that has money to spend, no matter what, even if you have a pretty good second baseman, first baseman, wherever you're thinking about putting DJ because he can play all over the diamond in the infield, you should be picking up the phone and calling just to see what the price is, just to see what the interest is. He's one of the top hitters in Major League Baseball. The other day, Bo Bichette said he thinks he's the best hitter in Major League Baseball. Okay, so I'm going to go with the 80% chance that the Yankees do bring back DJ LeMahieu. How do they get creative in other ways after that? Where do they have room left to spend? And I'm specifically looking at the starting rotation with a lot of promise, but also question marks.
I think you have to look at that starting rotation. Even though Jordan Montgomery, removed from Tommy John surgery, took a step forward last year, his velocity was up. He was using his changeup like he did early in his career, and he had a lot of confidence in that pitch. They're excited about Montgomery, but he's still not necessarily a proven factor in that rotation. He's going to play a role. Obviously, Gerrit Cole is the ace, but after that, you wonder if it's not a little thin when it comes to experience. Yeah, there's a tremendous amount of talent there. You have guys like Domingo Germán coming back. How many innings are they going to allow him to throw after not throwing at all in 2019? Luis Severino should be back sometime mid-year, probably mid to end July if everything goes well with his Tommy John rehabilitation. So that's another arm that you certainly know is live and you'd like to get back, but that's going to take a little bit of time to knock the rust off. And then you have some of the young guys like we saw last year, Davy Garcia, Clark Schmidt, Michael King, and others. If you're the Yankees organization, you have to feel good about what's coming through the pipeline. But is that enough? I think Brian Cashman will go out there and get another arm, preferably a veteran arm if it's available. But for fans that want to see them sign Trevor Bauer, I don't see how that happens. I don't even know that they're going to have enough money left over to sign a guy like Masahiro Tanaka, who they've loved over the years and has been absolutely consistent and beloved in that clubhouse. But I think if they go out and get DJ LeMahieu, they're not going to have a lot of money left to spend. So Brian Cashman is going to have his work cut out for him in trying to upgrade that rotation.
Yeah, they might have to do some bargain shopping. I am on the same page, though. After DJ, we go right to the rotation. You feel good about the offense, even when they're missing the big boys, right? Even when there are a number of injuries to this team. We saw it this past season. We see it pretty much every year. Other guys step up. So that's great. But they're still better. They're still a more powerful force when you have Judge and Stanton healthy, and then the rest of the lineup plays itself out. So with that being said, I feel like it's fair at this point, Meredith, to say I'm concerned that those guys can play a full season. What do you think the Yankees are doing to make sure that Judge and Stanton can play as much as possible?
Well, if you go back to last offseason, they pretty much changed their entire strength and conditioning crew, going with a new program, going with new personnel in hopes that these injury issues do not continue, not only for them, but others on the roster and throughout the team. If you go back the last 2 seasons, the Yankees have had an awful lot of injuries. Now, Brian Cashman will tell you sometimes when you change regimes, it takes a little bit of time for those new programs to settle in. And you look at guys like Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge, you can argue that they maybe weren't healthy in last offseason and they weren't able to train the way they would have liked had they been 100%. So I think they're doing more preventative stuff. They've changed the program. They're doing everything they can. The Yankees have a lot of resources. These guys have a lot of resources, but that's the million-dollar question with both of those guys. They're so much better when they're in the lineup, but as we've seen, they do have depth. But there is no substitute for Aaron Judge. There is no substitute for Giancarlo Stanton. Both of them are just imposing factors when they step into the batter's box, and they certainly make a pitcher work. So the Yankees want them out there as often as possible. Aaron Judge, certainly a quality outfielder as well. He's proven that in right field. I don't think you're going to see Giancarlo Stanton much, if at all, in the outfield anymore. He'll strictly be a DH unless there's an emergency.
I like that move. Keep him at DH, and also for fans that don't follow the team every single day, look up Eric Cressy and the work that he does, and now a full year under his belt to work with those guys. Meredith, thank you so much, and I have to say that's one of the best backdrops in all of guest hosting these days to be able to see and talk to. It's very refreshing, the sunlight and the vegetation. I'm a big fan. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays. I cut down that tree myself. I want you to know. Okay, no, I lied. But anyway, happy holidays to you.
You fooled me. Thanks.